Honest opinion.
Yes, sir.
That's me. All right, Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO FM in Jesup, 105.5 in your FM dial. Butch Hubbard here with you, along with Bob Morgan for the world-famous Butch and Bob Show here on this Tuesday morning, the second day of September. October, second day of October. All right, let's see here. Bob, we got guests in here this morning, here on the second day of October. Didn't want to scare people there in case they just woke up.
I believe we're talking East Bloss. Got Superintendent Jay Princeton and Jody Ammons in. So,
Jody, why don't you go ahead and begin first?
She's part of a special committee that's helping out with East Bloss.
Yes.
Good morning, Butch.
Good morning, Jody. Jody Ammons in here.
Thank you for letting us
And you're with who now?
I'm chairing the Children's First Committee. That committee has been established. This will be the third East Bloss term that it's been established for. So for 15 years now that I know of, it's been established. It's a private committee made up of a cross-section of the community of passionate people who are just there to advocate for our school children. We've got... and especially as it pertains to East Bloss and getting the East Bloss passed, that's one of the most important things we believe we can do for our community as a whole. Over 5,000 children, 5,100 students in our school system. That's a lot of our population. And everything we can do to support them in this ever-changing educational system is critical to the success of our community, we believe.
5,100 students, huh, Jay?
5,400.
5,400 students in the Wayne County school system, according to Superintendent Dr. Jay Brinson. 5,400. Boy, that's a lot of kids to take care of every day, isn't it?
It is. 8 schools, 5,400 students, and a lot of moving parts to the school system.
Yeah. And, Jody, so what do you want to discuss this morning concerning the East Bloss?
I just want to educate people. There's rumors going around and all, and this is no change in our
rumors,
never.
Are they?
But this
not
is
with the social media out there. No rumors at all.
We believe firmly that this is very important. It's very critical to vote yes for this. This is not a no tax. This is keeping things exactly like they are. The 1 cent is already there. It will just continue for the next term. And this 1 cent is so minor to do so much. What it generates, we've estimated, talking to local businesses and talking to the city manager and other folks, that over 30%, more like the numbers are getting higher. They're even saying, I believe at the hospital now, it's looking even closer to 40%, if I'm not mistaken. I was told that statistic, out of county business. You talk to downtown merchants, they're getting about a third of their business from out of county. They are helping us pay for this, and that is why it's so important. The burden does not fall on the property owners. The burden falls on people who buy things in Wayne County. And
I wish I had somebody else pay 30 to 40% of my bills.
Exactly. So really,
anybody want to step forward? I'll take it.
To me, I feel like it is a no-brainer. I feel like it is the obvious thing to do. Nearly all, if not all, counties in the state of Georgia have an East Bloss, and many of them, it just happens naturally. They don't have to work so hard to get it. So I believe we owe this to our kids for it to be an easy decision to vote yes.
Okay. And how many, I know that the Wayne County citizens for the past several times have voted for the East Bloss to help the school system, help build some new schools, help the students out here in Wayne County. Is this the third or fourth time that Wayne County will be voting on the East Bloss to continue? Does anybody know? I know this is at least the fourth time, isn't it?
I believe this is the fourth.
Fourth time. So three times, Wayne County citizens have voted to either to start the East Bloss and then continue on with it. And we can see the success and the results of this East Bloss all throughout the county.
And I agree with Jody. I mean, it is an investment. Our children are our future. They're the ones that are going to be, taking our places in our community. So, I agree. It definitely is an investment. And so you have to decide, the voters have to decide, are they going to continue to invest this 1%, this 1 cent sales tax, like she said, that over 30% of people outside are contributing to that to enable us to make sure we're staying on the cutting edge. Someone asked me the other day, well, James E. Bacon, what do they need? Why do you need a new school? Well, we're at the point now where we had to actually add some more electricity availability to the building just a couple of years ago, because there were so many devices and technology needs that we're using nowadays that we just did not have enough electricity to push it. And that's not changing. That's not going the other way. I mean, it's only increasing. We're trying to put devices in every child's hand in our system, where that's just the way they go about it. And that's something a lot of school systems have already done. So that's a big push. That's going to be a big area of need for this next EastPlus, is to continue to increase our technology availability. That's what we want to do for our kids, provide them opportunities where they're competing with everyone around us and competing in the 21st century with, everything's just going that way, and that's a continuous need. Even the devices, computers, iPads, Chromebooks, things that we use in our system, 3-4 years you might get out of them, then it's really time to replace them. I think I spoke to Miss Sandy Jones, our technology director, the other day. We have almost 1,000 devices, that are going to be, outdated, which means that, technology's got a pretty good business plan. They won't support them anymore, so they're going to be limited in what the children can do with those devices in our school system. So we just have to continuously replace those.
And that's very true right there, because if we think technology is growing fast now, it's snowballing. It'll be amazing what it'll be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, and our schools need to be up to date with all the requirements inside it and the facilities and everything to keep up with this, because that is not only now, but it's even more greater in the future. So our students need to be trained in that area and have the best to be able to get jobs, and for Wayne County to continue to have the success that we're having right now. I mean, you got 90% graduation rate at Wayne County High School. That's phenomenal.
Yeah, and I think
phenomenal.
Right.
That's 10% more above the state average.
That's that's like a 23.5% increase over the last 5 years. I think it was 67 point something, and 5 years ago, and it's 90 now. So that's a pretty good jump, and we're proud of that. And that's the biggest point I wanted to make this morning, is that our Board of Education currently, and really the former boards of education superintendents, and all of our employees have really done a great job kind of pushing and trying to provide everything that we can for our students. We've added back some programs. We come through the economic downturn where we cut a lot of services. We cut the quality. You can say what you want to. We cut what we were doing for kids, but that was one of those things we just had to do, and we've come through that. And we even reduced millage, I believe it was 4 years ago, a whole meal. And passing the EastPlus gives you that opportunity to consider reducing millage again.
That's right. Love those property rates to go down.
But someone asked me the other day, so if it doesn't pass, y'all are just going to maintain the status quo. Well, actually, no. And that's factual. That's why I want to make sure everyone understands, is that we will not be able to provide some of the things that we're providing at the level or the quality that we've provided them through the years. We've come through the current EastPlus. We've dipped way down in our fund equity. We're not at the recommended 15% fund equity now. We're going to be fine getting through this current fiscal year. But if we do not pass the EastPlus, we're going to have to do some heavy considering of what we're going to do going forward. And what I mean by that, we will not be able to afford, this is just one example, we will not be able to afford to provide transportation to our students with our bus fleet like we are now. We done a poll the other day. We have less than 40 students walking to school, and that's all 8 schools. All right?
Amazing.
It's 32, actually. And, of course, that's going to vary day to day. They're liable to be 50 walking to school today, but that's still very few out of the 5,400 that we have. And the reason for that, I believe, is we're sending buses by just about every house in Wayne County. Wayne County, I think, is the 3rd largest county in the state, square mileage wise. And so for us to be able to provide that transportation all the way around, when we don't have to, actually, by state law, if you're closer than 1.5 miles to the school, we don't really have to, by law, that they're expected to walk. Now, we've always done that. We want to maintain that. But when I look at our bus fleet, and we have 20 buses that are 18 years or older, and the recommended age of them being replaced is 11 years, that tells you in itself something's got to give. And that's one of the big ticket items we have on the East Plus for this time is to replace the buses. So, we would probably look at a two-tiered system. And I'm mentioning that because that's be a big, culture change for the way we do business in the school system is that, that's what I would recommend to the board is that we just cut our bus fleet in half, get it where it needs to be now, which means some schools would be starting, probably 7:30 in the morning, and maybe our middle and high schools start at, 8:45, 9 o'clock, which means they would get out later. And a lot of systems have moved to that just because of the bus driver shortage. And that's just one example. We've added back some programs. We've added back ROTC, and, we've kind of stretched ourselves, which is great. That's what we are supposed to be doing. But at the end of the day, you have to be able to afford it and fund it at a level that's, appropriate for students.
I think it's great that James E. Bacon, with the passage of the East Block, would be able to be modernized, updated, and just redone because it was built back in the mid '60s. Time for an update, time for the students not only now but through the next 20, 25, 30 years that are going through James E. Bacon to be able to have the same opportunities as other students, not only in our county but other counties, sure, with an updated facility. And to me, and I've always said sales tax is the fairest tax out there. It's better that even if you raise the millage rate by 2 mills, the Board of Education did that, it's a minute amount of money compared to what one East Block will do with the 1 cent over the 5 years.
And that's correct. I mean, we have the opportunity, unique opportunity with the program. We're going to be able to put, we're projected to put over $11 million into James E. Bacon. So that's going to make it look totally different. It's going to be a gut job in a lot of areas, a brand new lunchroom, brand new, gym. It's going to look totally different as far as where the front of the school is, pick up, drop off. And I'm very comfortable it's going to be on par with the other 4 elementary schools. And you're right, Butch, that, the option of raising millage 2 mills, that James E. Bacon project will never be able to be completed by raising millage because in our millage, raising it 2 mills, that's going to generate not even just over $1 million in a year. And that money comes in, as you know, monthly. And so those bills will come in a little quicker than we would be able to have a full-blown construction project. So that Bacon project would be totally put on hold.
Okay. All right, Jody?
I think it's very important that people understand, as an outsider, to me, analyzing the way money is handled, transparency, record keeping is very, very important so that trust is there. And as a member of this committee for, I believe, the 3rd term now, so for 15 years, I've watched the school system and the way that they've handled their money. Everything with the school system finances is very transparent to the point of you can go to the school website, the system website, the home page, and you can find out most any information you want to know about where money's going, how it's generated with this East Blast. They also have a very strong chief financial officer for the school system who handles all the money. This is not the county. This is the school system with a chief financial officer, a whole different thing, a whole different collection body and governing body. And the transparency is there, the responsibility is there, and I want to praise the boards and the superintendent and his staff for being that way, always giving the answers to the questions, always being transparent, and pulling up their bootstraps and making hard choices. Remember the years that the teachers were, and all the system employees were taking those furloughs. Remember the programs that were cut. They did what they had to do to get us to where we are, and that shines itself bright as a 90% graduation rate, which is the highest goal. The highest reward for something like that is seeing the success of your students. So I invite the community to ask questions, to visit the website, to find out what they need to know, to understand that their money is being handled in the best way, and the way that they're investing the money, borrowing the money, paying the money back, it's all so well done. from a business perspective.
I feel if people get the facts and they look into it and they get the information, not rumors, not what somebody else says and all that kind of stuff, but get the facts, and it's all there on the website, and of course with Dr. Brinson and other folks involved in the school system. Get the facts, and you see why it's so important to continue, not add, but continue this 1 cent, just 1 cent sales tax for the students of Wayne County.
Right, and
Dr. Brinson?
Yeah, and I certainly support. I mean, I appreciate everyone's support in the past, and I look forward to support it in the future. And I agree. Once people get good information, and that's the challenge. That's my job. That's our school system employees' job to make sure people get good information. So if you have questions, and there's been some people take me up on that, please contact me. I've had some citizens from the community that I don't know personally that have emailed me or text me, and that's all you have to do, and I'll get you the best information I can get you. I'll echo what Miss Emma said about our CFO. She's very, very well respected. She runs a tight ship. You can ask any of our folks in the system, and we're blessed to have that. And she is well respected. She serves on a lot of governing boards around in the state and some organizations. She speaks. I think she's got a conference speaking engagement coming up to share some of the things that we're doing here in Wayne County that not everyone is doing. And so I will toot our horn in that we've come through this last 5-year E-SPLOST that runs out next June 30th of 19. It's finished. I can say we're going to be completed building almost $28 million worth of new schools. Well, that was the big ticket items of that. We didn't raise, but it's going to be around that $16-17 million range over that 5-year period. But we had some other state monies, and we dipped in our fund equity, like I stated before, to get those accomplished. And our last bond payment, or that last payment for those projects, is due September, right after that July, so September of 2019, and then we'll be free and clear of those projects. They'll be paid for totally. They're completed. We don't owe another nickel on that, so that's why we're asking, the voters, Wayne County to pick that penny up again and continue it July 1st. It's not an additional one. Like Jody said, it's just continue it beginning again July 1st of 2019.
Okay, Bob?
Just, you were in here the last time and clarified it. That's the big question I always see over here as well. Why not a brand new school at James E. Bacon? Why renovation? Explain that process again and how the state helps out with the funding.
Sure, and that's a great question. The state has what they call a state entitlement program, facility program, and what they do is they allow you to earn free money, or state's participation in facilities based on their age, based on requirements, ADA, accessibility, some things that you must have in schools today. Safety, of course, since post 9/11, everything has to meet requirements, and so you earn money every single year based on that. James E. Bacon's unique in that parts of that building is very old, but parts of that building is not very old. So we've been very aggressive building these elementary schools. So we've depleted that entitlement program bucket of money from the state to finish those last 4. Now, we were able to qualify for that modernization program. We're going to end up getting about just under $4.5 million to renovate, okay, which is our plan. If we were going to build new, the state was only going to participate $1 million, okay, and even I know $4.5 million is more than $1 million. So that's the simple answer to it's going to cost us. We're going to be able to put $11.5 million into James E. Bacon, with the state participating, $4.5 million, to have us a new school. Now, the construction costs have went up. Martha Ross Smith is going to finish up close to that $16 million mark. In James E. Bacon, if you built new, I probably would be around it, probably be 16 to 17. Well, that's a whole E-SPLOST worth of money generated, sales tax in a 5-year period. And, and I'd recommend it to the board, so that's my recommendation, that we cannot address some of these other things that we talked about, transportation, technology. So it's just a combination of being able to spread the money a little bit more across our system and still have a quality building. I'm just convinced, and I guess I have no doubt that building's going to be on par with the other 4, and it's going to be something those teachers and students in our community can be proud of.
All right, somebody just texted in, if we do not continue the E-SPLOST, if we do not pass it and continue it, what are the chances of the school board having to raise taxes like the county did?
The chances are going to be very high, I can tell you. And like I said, that's an option. That's a horrible option, in my opinion. You know, our millage is at 18 now. You know, like I said, we lowered it 4 years ago, one full meal, and there's some things we're going to have to do. You know, we can only lower our quality of education in Wayne County so much. So that would be my recommendation to raise it as much as we could. And
Okay.
if it didn't,
But the Board of Education can only go 20 mills in that state law. That's the highest you can get, right? You can't
yes,
get more than 20.
there's some, you know, there's
you're
something that you
18
can
now.
pursue going over 20, and I'm going to certainly research that. You got to have Plan B and Plan C.
I got it.
But yeah, that's what it takes.
Well, the big elephant in the room, like I said, I don't know the history of these spots. I don't know if it's always been by itself, but, you know, most times you put these on, it's the only thing on the ballot, and most people go vote for it. Of course, the elephant in the room is people just got their tax bills still upset about that. And I keep hearing that from some people. Well, I'm not going to vote for these spots because of that. Are you afraid of that backlash with the big turnout with the governor's race, lieutenant governor's race, all that? Are you hearing that as well, and does that concern you?
Sure, you know, nobody likes their taxes to go up, and I understand that, and I understand the frustration. And we do have more on the ballot. We certainly have it sounds like a very contested governor's race. What I hear it's going to be a great turnout. I don't think that's a bad thing, but you know, I'm going to go back to my coaching days. I'm not going to spend time on worrying about things I can't control. What I can control is getting good information out to the community. And I appreciate this Children First Committee. They've been huge for us, for our county, for the last 15 years. They've been out there. We need those proponents, those advocates for public education out there. And I got a fine one sitting to my right here. And that's what it takes. And so we have to decide in Wayne County what we want. You know, so you can't have it both ways. And I can show you whether our overall accountability as far as academic achievements has been raised over the last over 5 years or so. And that's through hard work with our teachers and students and community support. But they still have to have the things they need. And so that's where it comes down to, you know, the funding. And this East Plus is certainly a great avenue to provide some things we need for our children.
You mentioned $11 million is going to the James E. Bacon Project. The referendum's already on the website. For people to know the rest of the money, I know tracks involved, technology. What are some of the items? School bus, air-conditioned school buses.
And that, you start adding it up, we're projecting it right now to only generate $16 to $17 million again over a 5-year period. So that's going to be a big chunk of it. And you start looking at, you know, parking lots, paving, those things are very expensive, and also just maintaining athletic facilities. And sometimes that athletic facilities gets criticized, but I just remind everyone, athletic facilities, all our extracurricular curricular facilities we can't spend state and federal money on that. That has to be totally locally or athletic generated revenue to address those things. We're very limited on what we can do with those. That's kind of the way reason we've gotten to the point where we are with our track. I mean, it's just in bad shape, but that's a lot of money to generate, and an athletic department just can't do it.
I'd like to say it's all about getting their correct information out. You know, I said, and like Jody says, there's so much false information out there. It is not a new tax. It's a current tax already. It's just a continuation of the East Bloss.
Right.
As you mentioned, the previous East Bloss were to build the brand new schools. All those have been built, but the one school that still needs help is James E. Bacon. So that's what this East Bloss is basically for. As you mentioned, $11 million is going to go in and pretty much gut it, renovate it, air condition the nest, which is desperately needed for those kids that have been going to PE class all this year without air condition. Air conditioned buses, which is something I think the board made a good move in. I know there's only a couple, but that's going to be the trend, hopefully, down the road.
Just in our plans, we're looking to, you know, buy 4 to 5 buses each year over the next 5 years. So we'll make that decision to add air conditioning. But I think it's a good one. You know, which is
an additional cost. People
I was going to say that's $250,000 right there out of our East Bluff, which is money well spent. But again,
I just know as a property owner and taxpayer, you know, I hated for the county taxes to go up 5 mills. I sure don't want my school board taxes going up 2 mills.
Right.
All right. I don't want that because that means more money out of my pocket. And anybody who owns property means more money out of their pocket than it does a 1 cent sales tax. You just take a look at the economics there. Let's see, 2 mills on my property or paying 1 cent that I've already been doing for the past 14 years now here in Wayne County. I would rather do that from an economic standpoint. It's less money out of a Wayne County's pocket if they decide to continue the E-Splash, just from an economic standpoint.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
The property owners need to truly understand this. I mean, it is very important that they understand, that we understand exactly what you're saying. And Tony Williams, the chief financial officer, did the math. If the school millage was at 20 meals, which raising it 2 meals, even at maximum millage 20 meals, it would take 12 and a half years to generate what the 1 penny sales tax does in 5.
Just amazing that the 1 penny generates millions of dollars. That's what amazes me. I mean, it's a 1 cent tax, but everybody pays. It's the most fair tax you can have. You hear the argument all the time, we just go to sales tax and forget it, property tax, but they don't do that. But it is the most fair tax, and like I say, you don't really notice it unless you buy a big, like a automobile or something like that. But when you go to the grocery store, I tell that story all the time. I've never seen a person go with their buggy full of stuff and they ring it up. They say, "Oh, take it back. I can't afford that 1 cent sales tax." I mean, I've never seen that. So you don't notice it. You just, like I said, 30% of the people coming from out of town help pay. Like we go every time we go out of town. Like I said, when we go to other places, we're supporting their East Blossville. We buy things. So. It's just what's fair for the goose, fair for the gander. Just like I said, if we're going to help them, let them help us. And if you go to places like Walmart, you see all those out-of-county tags, and all those people are helping with that 1 cent sales tax.
And all the folks that go to the hospital here, and the doctors, and all that come in here and for the shop. And some people think, well, you're just threatening us. A text message just came in there. You're threatening us with a increase. We don't appreciate threatening with a sales tax. A property tax increase. If the sales tax is not continued, it's not really a threat. It's more of
it's reality.
It's reality. That's right, Bob. It's reality.
It's not a threat.
It's the fact that there's things that has to be done in the Wayne County school system. You got to have enough funds to be able to do it. And so it's not a threat, it's just economic reality. Would you rather pay an extra 2 mils in in property taxes? Would you rather continuation of the 1 cent sales tax that Wayne County's been paying for the past 14 years? You won't even notice. It's 1 penny on stuff that you buy. And like I said, if you go to Glenn County, if you go to Chatham County, you go to Ware County, you go to Liberty County, you're paying for their education. So let's continue. The way I look at it from to me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, from a business person, from an economic standpoint, it's better to pay 1 cent sales tax and continue that and give the students of Wayne County the things that they need than it is to raise property taxes. And it's not really a threat. It's just reality.
And I'm confident that this board and administration would do everything they could to maximize whatever money that they have. So I hate that's perceived as a threat, but I think it's good to have the open conversation up front instead of there being surprises come at you. They are so fiscally responsible and would never just up millage. I think Dr. Brinson would love to be able to lower it a little bit again. That's ultimately the goal.
That millage rate again.
I think the majority of Wayne Counties understand. I think that if you go back and look at the percentages over the last times that every year it's increased, I think more and more people understand. It's just a common sense. I said it's either 1 cent sales tax or possible raise of millage, and no one wants to see the millage rate raised. So I don't know what the percentage is. The last East Boston, I think, was over 60%. I think it continued to go up, and maybe it's close to 70%. I think the majority of people understand the issue, but like I said, it's on the ballot. The early voting begins on Monday, October 15th, so you're just trying to get as much information out there before they start going to the polls. So
get the facts.
There's a lot, like I said, as Jody mentioned, there's just so much misinformation out there. You still hear people say, "Oh, it's a new tax." No, it's not a new tax. It's been on the books for whatever
14 years.
We're just continuing it. It's 1 cent that generates millions of dollars, and the big project, of course, is the renovation of James E. Bacon. If you go by that school, and if you've ever been to the Nest, go by it. The last couple months, when it's 97 degrees, and you see those poor kids in that gym playing. It's something that's definitely needed. But I think, like I said, the key is to get the information out. The Chamber's got that ballot and barbecue, which will be a good thing. We encourage people to come to that. That's open to everybody. It's $20. I think, let me get the date
The
on
thing
that.
about it is you've got the business organizations, the chamber, and other business organizations that are in favor of continuing the e-splosh tax. And these are folks who know numbers inside out, forwards, and backwards. And, of course, they'd a lot rather see the continuation of that 1 cent sales tax than they would the possibility of property tax going up. And also, even if there wasn't that a possibility, it's great to be able to provide the best facility we can for those students that go through James E. Bacon through all these years, plus get on track of replacing some of these school buses that are over 18 years old.
That's right.
And their life should only be 11 years old.
And this is my last statement. I know we're running out of time for this morning, and that is my job, to try to get the best information out there now. We don't want to surprise our community, but I'm telling you this, I'm going to stand strong on this, is that we've balanced the budget on our employees for many years and took money out of their pockets. That's something I'm not willing to do during my tenure here as superintendent. We're not going to, go back to furlough days, and this is some of the things that we're going to do. We'll have to figure out another way. We're not going to dip into our employees' pockets anymore to get some of the things done that we have to get done. I mean, we have to get students to school.
Well, hopefully we won't go through the Great Recession like we did back in 2008, 9, 10, and 11. That was some bad economic times.
Tough.
And the chamber has their battles and barbecues. That's a week from tomorrow, Wednesday, October 10th, 11:30 to 1. At Coastal Pines Technical College, admission $20 per person. Everyone's invited. And you can get educated before casting your vote in November election and come preview the ballot. Learn more about the voting process and local issues, including voting procedure for someone already on the ballot. Again, instructions on how to write in a candidate explanation of local referendums such as these laws and impacts of our community. On the program will be probate court judge Tammy Thornton, Dr. Jay Brinson is in studio with us now, East Boss, Tony Williams, Chief Financial Officer, and Justin Mayor Dave Drolke to talk about the Sunday alcohol referendums on the ballot. So there's a lot on the ballot besides the candidates. East Boss vote is in the ballot this year. Again, hopefully people get educated, understand the issue, and continue the East Boss again. And as you mentioned, it's all about kids, and that's what it's all about, millions of dollars for kids.
and not punishing 5,400 members of our 30,000 total population in the county for problems they didn't create. Understanding the separation and the difference. Our kids deserve the best we can give them.
Okay, we'll end it on this text message that just came in here on the screen. It says, the sales tax is the only fair tax.
Amen.
All right. Y'all have a good day.
Thank you.
All right. Just get the facts, folks. Get the facts. Big Dog Country Radio, WIFO, 105.5 FM in Jesup, world famous Butch and Bob Show, brought to you by Mike Birch Ford in Blackshear and by Murphy Builder Supply, located on Northeast Broad Street in downtown Jesup. Now, coming up soon, I'm going to give away some free wristbands, armbands for kids.